brand new practice fields at Tennessee, and boy, are they beautiful. The dorm is amazing. How have those two new facilities, and I think that's one thing, I laugh because I'll watch media sometimes and they'll say, well, Butch Jones is thinking this and Butch Jones is thinking that, and I'm one of his best friends. I talk to him all the time. He's not thinking that. I mean, I know you love the athletic director, and I don't know if you care if I say that, but I know privately what you say to me as a friend. You're constantly talking about how blessed you are to work with him. I know what you think of Phil Fulmer. I know what you think of the president. I know what you think of the school. You love it there. I think Barb would kill you. She loves it as much as you do. But when you look at the fact, hey, we need this, we'll give it to you. You look at those brand new practice fields, the new dorms. I know you're excited. How have those impacted recruiting?
Oh, they impact recruiting immensely. Again, first of all, it's evidence. It's proof of the commitment they have to better serve the student athlete. So everything goes into that, and it's all for them. They have the luxury of having the dorms. They have the Anderson Training Center right there, the academic center. It's convenient, and we ask so much of these individuals, and we monopolize their time, from academics to athletics to personal growth and development. So to have that luxury of being able to have everything right there has really helped us in recruiting, but it's also evidence of the commitment that's behind our football program and really all of our athletics.
Tom Izzo, and obviously you're here in Michigan, so his opinion carries a lot, but he's been bemoaning that it used to be when a kid came in, if you didn't start right away, he worked hard knowing one day I'm going to earn that chance. It wasn't, I'm transferring, I'm going to go somewhere else if you don't play me right away. Now, he's not going to give in, and you're not going to be manipulated by a player. Part of that, I work in recruiting every day, and I'm part of the scout network, and we have 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars, whatever, and guys get blown up. But as a coach, when you're sitting there in your office with your assistants and you're working on depth charts and starters and all that, does it weigh into your thinking, okay, does this guy leave if he doesn't get enough plays, or do you just say, I can't do that, it has to be about the team? How do you balance that? Because I know Izzo is a Hall of Famer,
right,
and he's dealing with it. How do you deal with that?
Unfortunately, that's reality. That's reality of our society, and it's really, really very unfortunate because if you look at all the great success stories, usually there's some adversity and some perseverance that was allowed, and I call it, we live in a sports center society. All we do is we go home and we turn Sports Center on, and all we see are the highlights. What we don't see is the behind the scenes, the sacrifices that have gone into those individuals making those highlights, so we just think it's easy. And sometimes we think a change of address is the best. Well, really, if we would just hang in there, success is coming our way. And we talk to our players about it all the time, but I also think it's really formulated going back in the recruiting process. If we have parents or individuals that all they're concerned with the depth chart and how many are you recruiting at this position and what are your numbers like, all of a sudden that becomes red flags for us. We want individuals who really don't care who's around them. They're just worried about being the best version of them and competing on a daily basis. So I think a lot of that we try to evaluate in our recruiting profile as well, but I do think it's real. We do have a plan, and I think it's talking to your players all the time about that.
I want to talk about QB packages. You guys are in the midst of a QB battle at Tennessee. What a great problem to have when you have 2 great quarterbacks. And your quarterback coach recently said that he hasn't closed the door on using 2. I think that tells you a lot about the talent you have. So when you enter into a fall camp where you just don't know who your quarterback's going to be, do you have to have 2 packages knowing even if one guy wins, the other guy's too good not to get some plays and some reps? Do you have to go in knowing that, or is it no plan at all?
Well, you always have to play to the skills and the strengths of your players. First and foremost, it's all about them. But it is a healthy situation to have, because to have competitive greatness, you need that competition every single day. And these 2 young men have competed every single day in the classroom, on the field, but they also still help each other. And that's been great to see. But I think more of not having 2 quarterback packages, I think it's having a system that's universal that can fit any quarterback that you have and that can play to the skill sets of your players. We have the flexibility within our offensive system to be able to adjust it to the quarterback to make it quarterback friendly.
I told someone the other day, and maybe I wasn't speaking for you, but I love your situation. It's kind of like when Florida had Tebow and when he was younger, and they were able to work other guys in. I mean, I think it's a good problem when you got good talent, isn't it?
It is. Again, they have the two quarterbacks that we have, and obviously they're strong competitors. That brings the evolution of your football team along. I think it elevates the skill set of players around them as well. So I think it's been very, very healthy for us.
And Butch, maybe I'm wrong, and again, I don't want to betray our friendship, but I was watching something down in Tennessee recently, and the guy was talking about, these two, the battle, they don't like each other. I'm thinking, wait a minute. You love them both. I've heard you tell me nothing about their friends. They both want to compete. So when you have two guys competing like that who have their character, I think that's what do you have two guys competing that hate each other? I don't know what helps the team.
Correct.
Two guys of character. I've watched those two coach each other.
Yeah.
I think that's what people are missing, aren't they?
Exactly right. And it all gets back to respect. And obviously they want to play. That's why they're there. They're great competitors. But you can still never lose the respect of being a good teammate and what being a good teammate encompasses. So the respect that they have for each other, that's been great to see.
Tuttle, what a great defense, and what a good kid, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember interviewing him in the recruiting process because Michigan State was interested and I thought, what a great kid. Obviously, you lost a lot on your defensive line. He's a guy that's going to be key. When you look at him and his progression, how key is he going to be to the 2017 Tennessee Volunteers?
Well, he's one of those individuals that we need to get back healthy, and unfortunately he's had two major injuries the last 2 years, and to his credit, he keeps battling back and he gets back to that competitive greatness. And I think the players around him have really helped him deal with the adversity, the perseverance that's involved. So we expect him to be back in training camp. I think his repetitions will grow as training camp goes, but also we can't push him to get back too soon. But we're excited to have him back because he is a difference maker for us up front.
Is it fair, forget football because I think everyone knows how good he is. With him though, isn't it kind of fun to talk about that kid's not no quit in him? I don't think he knows the definition of the word quit. And is that maybe where you as a head coach have to pull on the reins a little bit and say, okay, Tut, back off a little bit? Because I know you approach each of these kids like you're a dad. I know you as a dad personally. Is that maybe when you go out and get high character, high motor guys where you have to back them off a little?
Absolutely. We always say you'd rather say whoa than sick 'em. And, we've had to do that with our football team a number of times this summer, is pull them back. And that's been exciting to see because there is a drive to them. And it's a team that's really, really centered on team chemistry and expectations and holding each other accountable. And we talked about doing it that way with details, accountability, and toughness, and our players have really, really emphasized that, and they're trying to hold each other accountable in all those aspects.
Last thing for you, and it's a friend question, okay? Just forget media for a minute. I know we got a camera, but forgive me. Last year after the loss to Vanderbilt, I was so mad at you. I wasn't mad about the loss to Vanderbilt. I remember saying to you, Butch, I think it was 13 starters are gone. And I'm like, I understand Tennessee doesn't lose to Vanderbilt, but you were down, I think it was 13. Maybe I'm wrong about my memory, maybe even higher, but it was some sickening number. You never let that go into your mind. The very first thing you say to me is, it wasn't I don't feel bad for me, it was, man, I feel bad for our players and fans. And I remember saying to you, Butch, do you know how many guys you didn't have? I mean, granted, I understand you being disappointed in a loss, but football is just that. If it was a guarantee to be called winning, but it's called football. Mm-hmm. When you look back at last season, I know you weren't happy with where it ended. But are you able to look back and say, with all the injury, with all the players, young players who got experience, with the fact I had a team with no quit. Man, Butch, there was no quit in that team. Can that be a season like the 2012 Michigan State Spartans that then parlayed into a Rose Bowl championship, where that can be a foundation brick that 10 years from now, people in Tennessee can still look back at that team in that year and say, disappointing season, but it laid the groundwork for a launch pad for more success. Is that fair?
It is fair. And, I told our players this is the experiences that they gained last year is going to serve them for many years in life. and they're going to refer back to that year. And for that football team to still win 9 games, win their 3rd consecutive bowl game with everything that we went through is really remarkable. And then you have individuals that played through injuries, great success stories. Here's Cam Sutton, who quite frankly wasn't healthy, but still elected to play in the bowl game where a lot of individuals are pulling themselves out to get ready for the NFL draft. You had Derek Barnett. You know, all he wanted to do was leave Tennessee with the victory. Alvin Kamara, he didn't have to rush himself back to play, but the team was more important than him individually. When you look at all those stories and to still win 9 games and have a great win over a very, very good Nebraska football team, there was a lot of great things that happened. Were we disappointed? Did we have high expectations? Absolutely. We always have those high expectations. But I think when you look back at how that team persevered, I know for me personally, I'll always remember that football team. And I think that'll help our football program in moving forward, because as we know, the football season brings about natural adversities. A long season, that's what it's about. They find a way. In the teams that have the character, they still find ways to win games. And you know, you brought up an interesting stat when we were sitting here when the interview started, that there's only been 3 programs that have won 9 games 2 years in a row, and Tennessee is one of them. That's how hard it is to win in the Southeastern Conference.
Well, as your friend, you know I love you personally. I don't care if you're coaching at Tennessee or you're running a gas station here. I love you for the man you are and the father and husband that you are. But I know how much you love Tennessee. I know how much you love Knoxville. I know how much Barb and the kids, they just love it. I have a friend who's a police officer there. He tells me that you're constantly out in the community. I'm glad to see you enjoying it. Last year, I worried about you. I'm not going to worry about you anymore, but I'm just telling you, dadgummit, enjoy it, will you?
Well, life's too short, and you got to enjoy the process, and you have to enjoy the journey. And a lot of times we don't enjoy the process of the journey until it's over with. And that's the beauty of it, is every day getting up and working to be the best. And we want to be the best football program, best football team in America. And that's what I look forward to, is getting up every day and chasing that dream.
All right. God bless you, buddy. I sure love you.
Good seeing you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.